Alright, and hey there, Prox Gaming Crew, and this is Proxify here, and welcome back to the Final Fantasy X Let's Play. If you did miss out during the last one, well, we just went about it with Seymour Flux and used our Aeons for the overdrive attacks that we did have to go and use, and got the win that we do need. Now, there is the other way of actually battling out with Seymour Flux, and that's just by doing the regular boss battle attacks that you are going to be able to use without having to go in too much within the actual said Aeons, but you are going to be running into somewhat of a problem where Seymour Flux is going to be using a lot of zombie status elements that will be happening throughout his way, so just be really careful and try to use the holy waters as best as you can. That cross cleave attack can do some vicious stuff, so it will actually cause like at least maybe one or even all three within the different zombie elements to all your different partners there, which that would not be good. But however, since we already managed throughout our way to battle out with Seymour, of course, we're now going to be heading on into with some more stuff throughout our time now in Mt Gagazet. We actually do have this pathway here at this point in time where we are going to be heading into the dream world of Zanarkand. And yes, we are going to be heading back to Zanarkand in a time where everything was basically lively, and we did get to see that before back at the very beginning of the game. So it's pretty nice that we get to go and see Zanarkand once again, and it's kind of normal state for right now for where it was. I know that later on we'll probably be seeing Zanarkand in a more damaged type of state than what it was originally before, right? Because we saw that when Sin just went and like showed up out of nowhere and just completely started doing a whole bunch of other different attacks throughout that way. But within these two videos for today, not only are we just going to be doing out here with the course of Final Fantasy X, but we are going to be doing some other things with Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door as well. Currently, right now, we are going to have to be battling out with not one, but two different bosses at this point in time. We are going to have to battle with Cortez, and we are going to have to battle out with Lord Crump as well, too. Now, with Cortez, he actually does have 3 different forms, so I think we should at least be somewhat okay, but the best type of characters to go ahead and use for something like that is basically Flurry or using Vivian, depending on what you're going to go and do with. If you want to go and actually destroy all of his different weapons that he actually sets up, or you can actually go and blow them away if you wanted to as well. It's just that you want to make sure that if you don't really have the best type of FP, is that you want to make sure that you at least conserve it as well all the way until the point of like the 3rd phase, because that's where things could get a little bit more crazy than what it was. Now this place actually does seem a little bit familiar. I don't know if you guys remember, but this kind of feels almost all the way back since like episode 1, like during our time like before we were going and heading into our very first Blitzball tournament here. And that was where we got to meet up with all the different fans and everything. So now we're going to actually head on inside this actual way of this said house over here. Now I know that before, I think during our first time heading on into Zanarkand, I don't believe we actually were able to head on into this door right away, right? But now we are. And that is where we're going to be meeting up with that mysterious kid once more, because he's been popping up everywhere, if you guys remember, right? Like, we saw him back over at Pavel, we did go and see him before, all the way at the very beginning of the time of the game, and some other different few places around as well, too. Like, Zanarkand kind of seems like it almost kind of feels almost a little bit like New York City in a way, because, like, for what Faith is actually going to be talking about is that how, like, all these people that are living here in Zanarkand are basically dreams. And these dreams that these people are in, for what this whole area is all about, is that they don't ever go to sleep. They basically just stay up all the time. And Faith is actually going to talk about how we could actually be somewhat important for how we could go and put all these other like dream souls, I guess, that are living here in Zanarkand finally going to rest once, for what's going to happen here, which I don't think we really want to go and do that right away, right? Because we still have to go about with Sin, and we still got a whole bunch of other things to do, so we still need to at least still be alive here, right?
You're wrong. It's not that you're dreaming.
Yep, but that's what I was literally just talking about there.
Wait a sec.
So now we have to go and just follow Faith around, and we'll just be learning some other things while we're at here. So it's pretty interesting lore, because I've never actually really got to know all that too much about Final Fantasy X, and since I'm actually playing it all the way here in this kind of last bit of some moments that are happening within Final Fantasy X, it's been pretty nice to go and hear all about the stuff that is happening throughout this game. And this is my very first actual experience throughout learning what's going on right now here in this particular part. Now we do actually have an upcoming battle at some point, which that will be another said boss battle after the whole Seymour Flux thing, which this guy is, I want to say, a little bit tricky in a way. There is different methods to the madness of this set other boss battle, Now I forget who the actual boss is, but it's like some sort of like dragon or something that kind of gatekeeps the place that we actually have to go and head off to next. But you can do like different ways of like using threaten or something, and you can just basically make like the dragon like completely freeze up, and you don't really have to have him do too much amount of crazy attacks. I know that there's one guide that I'm actually watching right now that we're actually going through within the game to actually at least somewhat help out here. Is a favorite YouTuber of mine is HC Bailey, and he actually went through on using the silver hourglasses for what the actual said creature is going to be. So we'll probably go and do something like that just so that we can at least get this guy all slowed down, just so they doesn't have to go too crazy. It's just that this said dragon likes to go and use haste during the time of the battle. So if you have reflect or something like that, you can actually go and make sure that you protect yourself. Well, at least somewhat make sure that that guy doesn't get also protected from there, just so that he doesn't have to cast haste on himself, but he could also go and bounce haste back over to one of your other partners if you haven't really done so. But again, we do have haste Daga, so we'll probably do that very beginning of the game anyways, or from what the actual battle is going to be. So we're just going through all the different places right now of what this whole area is going to be. And now we're going to be seeing like a more distorted type of Dream World Zanarkand now, because now it's not like it's like normal type of state of how it was before. It's like all weird now. And speaking about with other type of distorted other places that are going on, I don't know if you guys have ever went and heard right now, but Echoes of Wisdom just went and had another trailer from Nintendo, and it's actually pretty cool. In a way, it kind of looks almost like how Pokemon Platinum is. Which looks really nice, and I can't wait till I go and try out what that whole distortion world is going to be, because that's where you could go and use all the different items that you went and previously had during in the reality world. For when you were going and walking around with Zelda, you could actually be able to go and place all your different items into other different things that happen within the distortion world to actually at least somewhat continue throughout your adventure out there. And not only that, but I know that some people were kind of going out of the way and complaining about how Zelda wasn't going to be able to use a sword. Well, I believe she actually does use a sword in this game. It's just that you have to use special magic power, which that's going to have to be something to get restored inside those distortion worlds if you do want to go and rebuild those back up. But from what I've seen is that there is a level 1 counter on there, so I'm pretty sure that there's going to be other levels that you could go and do at some point where you don't have to really worry about having the problem of wasting your type of hero mode with Zelda for some time. You can actually add more time limits onto there, which that should be at least somewhat helpful for it.
Hey, we were so worried about you.
But it seems like we're all back to normal now, so that's pretty good.
I'm okay.
What happened?
Nothing.
Well, come on, Tidus, you should at least go and tell everybody about what happened. You shouldn't really keep that all to yourself.
And I woke up.
But we'll probably let them know at some point anyways, right?
Nothing like a good nap. Well, I'm ready. Let's go.
Alright, so onwards with our adventure, let's head into the cave side of things here at Mt Gagazet. Now, here in this place is that there's going to be a little bit of some weird things that are going to happen. Now, some of this type of place that is going to happen in this whole cave area of Mt Gagazet, we can't really go across on into all that too much. Now, later on, there will be different trials that we are going to have to go and accomplish and complete, and random steps and other weird things are going to start opening up, and we can actually go and head off into those said places later on. And that's where we're going to have to meet up with that said dragon boss that I was telling you guys about, where you can use like the different methods for what's going on throughout that type of battle there. But anyways, we got ourselves with the Dark Flan. Those guys are actually somewhat weak to Demi, so if you ever do want to go and use Lulu for that, or even use Kamari as well too, if you are using the pathway for that, you can do some damage on over to them. We're going to make sure that we go and capture that with most of these creatures as we can. So let's hopefully go and try to think if we can go and find out where... so we got ourselves one of those Army Man, or Ari Man, I think this was known as. And then we also have the Grendel as well. Now, I believe the Grendel can actually be somewhat weak to the poison. So, there we go. And yeah, these Grendels do like to go and charge up as well. So just be careful of the Flame Ball tactic, because I believe that actually hits all 3 of your members that are out in the party. So that's not going to be really fun. But hey, you know what? We have Delay Buster, so we'll just try to make sure that we go and delay his attack for a little bit of some turns there. Also try to put them to sleep as well in the process, but hey, either way, we got the capture that we do want, and that's exactly what we want to do. So nice. So that is 3 of these said creatures here in the cave right now. Now, mind you, there is going to be some ocean type of enemies as well too that we're going to have to worry about, or some of the water enemies that are going to happen later, but we're going to have to worry about that for the next episode though. So here are these behemoths. Now, at least the good thing is that we're not battling out with the behemoth king, or else that would be in more so of a problem where they do like to set up with meteor at the very end of all that stuff, so we don't really have to worry about that. But as long as we got that behemoth, we're all good to go. That's where you can get that mighty guard if you ever do want it from them. Now later on, we should hopefully be meeting up with another set enemy, which that is going to be the newer Ocho out here, or Uchu, I think. Yeah. This is like the major grower now. This is like the second type of transformation of it. And after some time, we should at least be able to at least get the capture that we do want here. Yep, and just like that, I think we got all the land enemies here that are in this place of this said cave. So now we just have to wait until we get the water creatures now. Oh wow, look at that. We got a lot of sphere gritty to go and do at the very end of all this. So yeah, so right down here is one of the different swimways that we have to go through in one of the pathways here in this cave, and that will lead us into the very first of many trials, which we are going to have to go and use Waka for, to go and throw our special type of ball and get a nice reward from all that. But we'll worry about that for next time. But anyways, this is where I'm going to end off here for today. See you guys in the next one for Final Fantasy X, and of course, peace.